We say it every time. Every live show could be the last live show. That's my resting thought before I go out on stage.
We're gonna fucking die tonight.
I don't think people knew tequila was the engine of this show.
I think we've revealed that more than once.
That thing mixes in the tome like a good base layer of tequila and hummus.
Yeah.
Farpoint, the original frontier. This is the re-encounter of the podcast's greatest gen. Its continuing mission to pontificate about a TV show from 36 years ago. To seek out new jokes and new film papers. To boldly name a Shimoda where no Shimoda was named before.
It's a Star Trek podcast by a couple of guys who almost destroyed the start of this Star Trek podcast by tripping over the box. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison. I'm just gonna do a little
can I help?
curtain close here. They offered to have someone do that for us, and we were like, no, come on. We're not fancy.
We help.
We're
That's
helpful
what we
men.
do.
We're very helpful men. Does this look good? We're filming this. We're filming this for the
Straighten that
internet,
up.
by the way.
Let's tidy up this bottom part too. This is bad.
They said no seam, no seam.
That's better.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Welcome, Brooklyn. It seems like a good 60 or 70% of the people that bought tickets knew that this was an afternoon show.
There's still so much left to do today.
You're gonna walk out, it's still gonna be sunny. It's really good to be this drunk this early in the day.
We're here to do kind of a redo.
Yeah, we recently re-listened to our first episode and we were like, what the fuck?
I think it's the only episode my wife has ever listened to.
No wonder she's so hostile to the entire situation.
We were workshopping bits for the beginning of the show, and we were like, well, should we, I don't know, have our wives be a part of it? Should we show, like, pictures of us in the studio early on?
No.
All sorts of bad ideas we avoided, but
Yeah. We basically avoided all ideas at the end of the day. Anything we came up with for re-encounter at Farpoint that would take any planning or premeditation, we abandoned.
I got through all 28 minutes. Like, that's half a dog walk for me.
Yeah.
I could listen to it twice.
Is there anybody here that was on board from episode 1? Wow. What did you hear that you thought was good?
I hadn't listened to it since we did that episode, and what was that, 2016?
That was when Breath of the Wild was out, and now we're on Tears of the Kingdom.
I thought we had our standards pretty high from the beginning.
We were actively professional filmmakers at the time, and we're like, we've got the production part completely figured out on this podcast.
I was shocked at how bad it sounded.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
At one point, I clearly either change mics or like go into a different room or something.
Can I tell you, when I listened to it last week, I was like, Ben got into the file and fucking remastered his track.
No.
Because my track sounds awful as soon as yours sounds good. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
I don't know what happened.
Lies.
I don't even know if the original record files to that episode exist, but we felt
We should give them to Wendy for her to do.
If they do,
something with.
We felt sort of we've gotten a little bit better at the production and are about the same at the comedy and level of knowledge of film production shit. Maybe we should take another run at this thing.
Yeah, so that's what we're here to do. That's what we're trying to figure out. We're going to do it better this time, and we're going to do it live for you.
You may have noticed on your way in that you were forced to agree to an appearance release because there was a sign that said that. We're also filming this. We're going to do a stream of it, and I'm really excited about that as well. I do this every time. Hello, the internet. Nice to see you.
We're only going to release it if it's good, though, right?
Oh, shit. So.
Only if it's good, right?
You're really starting to make me feel bad that we didn't plan anything.
It's going to be great. This is an experiment for us. This is going to be, you're going to watch us do a live podcast. It's not going to be like the tour at all.
It really isn't. What else were we going to do while we were up here?
I don't know. I think I'm ready.
Yeah? You want to sit down?
My birdie's ready.
Yeah. Get
Gonna
into
do the show?
An episode?
Yeah.
All right, Adam. Well, what do you say we review the pilot of Star Trek: The Next Generation, the best television show ever made?
You wouldn't think so from this episode.
It's season 1, episode 1, Encounter at Farpoint.
It's weird to pivot into show without FX.
Yeah. Somebody's going to have to load this iPad up with some sound effects at some point. It's not going to be us.
You're even wearing what you would wear for a usual record, just a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I actually went shirt shopping for this show. I wanted to look nice.
Did you put that shit on the company card?
No, I didn't. I should have.
Thank God.
But I did not. Yeah, you'd never approve. This shirt didn't come with a neckerchief. Oh, you know Ben's reputation. Are you, you're pimping Babar?
Yeah.
With this. The estate of...
Babar does not need to be pimped. Babar already is one.
When you buy a Babar shirt, does your money go to the estate of Bob Babar?
Yeah, he said encourages you to spay and neuter your elephant. It's like they're an endangered species. That's like the opposite of what we want, right?
I almost forgot. Because we're redoing the very first episode of our show. You guys remember what the rules of the show were very early on, right? We each got vetoes. And I haven't told Ben this. But I have watched the first 2 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
What's the second one? Is it the one where it's really racist?
No, that's the third one. The second one is where they go crazy with fire extinguishers.
Oh, it's the Naked Now. It's the one with Shimoda in it.
So I'm going to veto this episode. Because I'm ready to talk about the Naked Now. Tonight.
What the fuck?
Are you ready for that?
People know who the drunk Shimoda of episode 2 is, Adam, and therefore I counter veto.
Unbelievable. Wow. Perfect record for us.
Weird.
Wow, where to begin?
Let's begin at the beginning. No cold open in the pilot.
Yeah.
It just starts with that thing that you saw before, but not a bad impression.
The better of the two.
And we get right into it. We start with a captain's log, beautiful shots of the ship, beautiful, extremely beautifully lit shot of P-Stew looking out the window in the ready room for the first time.
I know that was meant to look cool, but don't you get the sense that he's a person who just spends a lot of time by himself in a dark room? I'm gonna get into this a lot later, but bad Picard episode on a lot of levels, right?
Sure. By the way, if you're just keeping track at home, at this point in the runtime of the original episode of Greatest Gen, we were well into the back half of the.
We're I don't know why you'd want to listen to this. Stay tuned next week.
I love the beauty shots of the ship, though. We're en route to Deneb 4, which is where Farpoint Station is, and they're going to be kind of kicking the tires on this new space station. Picard walks around. We get to see a bunch of the sets for the first time.
Are the sets bouncing, or is the camera bouncing for all this?
I think the sets might be bouncing, just based on so. One thing I noticed immediately on my rewatch is the first big set that we go to is engineering, and it's Picard coming down an elevator that doesn't have any guardrails or anything on it.
What was he up there doing?
I don't know. I don't know what you do on that elevator if the
I'm
ship...
avoiding the children.
I heard they were on the lower deck. One thing that is impossible not to notice in this shot is that everybody on the lower deck is wearing a scant and nobody on the upper deck is wearing a scant.
That's smart.
There are multiple hunky dudes walking around below the camera whose skirts you can't see up. And it's come on, man!
It's so bouncy as a sequence, it made me wonder if it was just coverage. At the end of the day, let's just shoot coverage of the set.
Yeah,
and it made it into the show as the lead.
I mean, the sets are amazing, though. I think that for as ramshackle a script as this is, they really nailed what the ship looks like on the inside and everything.
They led with their strongest aspect. Leading with that ship was a great
camera work.
idea.
Oh, I see. Never mind.
Right. Creepy captain.
Did you see what Data did with his fingers when Picard first walks onto the bridge? He does a...
No, like someone in a cubicle trying to look busy?
Let's just say that guy looks like he likes scanning for life forms.
You get a weird Data this episode, too. A non-canonical Data, really.
Yeah, they didn't quite have the hair and makeup dialed in.
Yeah.
It
seemed like they really wanted him to be super heroic, too, in a way that they don't often return to after this first season. I want to see him bend metal more, you know?
I want to see Data bending pipe.
Yeah.
A lot.
He could never bend Riker's pipe. Too hard.
What do you say we get Data in a scant, put him up on the second floor of engineering, and let him bend a little bit of pipe? And the people at the network were like, I don't think America's ready. This is the first time Data ever gives the definition of a word. That was also a thing that they hadn't quite figured out. Has he been in Starfleet long enough to become a lieutenant commander and the second in command of the ship, or has he never heard English words before?
On a number of levels, the crew seems unprepared for this. And by that, I also mean, a lot of the crew isn't there. What are they doing without a first officer? What is, the hood is further out than the D at this point. Isn't that wild?
Notably, the Q Continuum did not identify anything Robert DeStoto was up to as
no.
We need to send these guys back to Earth. Deanna Troi has a much bigger role in this episode than I remembered. I mean,
Yeah.
like early season, especially TNG, we talked a lot about how underwritten she and Beverly Crusher's characters are, and I was surprised revisiting the pilot. Like, she gets a ton of stuff to do in this. I mean, mostly it's just saying what you're supposed to feel, like on an emotional level.
Not a lot of TV shows get away with that, like telling you how to feel about a certain thing.
Yeah.
This one did.
Sure did. I mean, my wife has to do that for me sometimes. Isn't it magical
You should
that our
feel
son?
good.
Yeah. Our son crawled today, and I'm like,
I'm trying to play this video game right now.
Shut up! There's so many shrines in Tears of the Kingdom.
How's that going? How's Daron?
Jeron's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I was shocked because your wife and baby were here in the room
Yeah.
before doors.
That's sound check. Calm down. They're not here anymore.
And I was like, isn't it really important not to expose a newborn to like dangerous or bad things?
Like Star Trek podcasts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I have been.
I
Thinking
love how quickly she left though. She was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah. No. She's doing fun, cool things with her fun, cool friends.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you coming to the after party?" She's like, "No."
No.
Anyways, yeah. So Troy picks up some bad vibes out there in space ahead of them, and pretty soon they run into this giant cyclone fence in space, and we meet. So this was a script that was like, DC Fontana did a 1-hour script that was about Farpoint Station, and then Gene Roddenberry was like, I'm also going to get a credit on this so that I get paid a ton more, and wrote all of this Q stuff in. And you can really, like, it's like being in a car that goes from a paved road to a gravel road. Like, you really, like, feel it going back and forth.
It is so, like, there's 20 minutes of fat on this episode at least. It's so slow. And this is a show that it seems to think that the most important parts are like shift changes and like how a ship operates.
Right.
So we linger in those moments forever.
They really let us soak it up.
Yeah. Not exciting.
Q originally appears as like a medieval page boy. He's got the page boy haircut. Does that make him a page boy?
I think it does. Yeah.
I don't know how to read rank on. One thing I noticed is that when Q does take them to be judged, he doesn't take O'Brien.
Yeah.
So like Q knows how to read rank, but I don't know how to read Q's rank. Is what I'm saying.
Isn't it weird how in awe, like automatically Picard is of Q? Like, and all he's done is put up the fence.
Yeah.
And he also froze a guy, but that's it. Those two tricks are sufficient for Picard to be like, I surrender. Obviously.
If Q had appeared to them as Feklar, this episode would have gone really differently, I think.
Picard's gonna have his mind fucking blown when he meets Kevin.
That would be good. People would like that.
As far as I know, Q hasn't even killed a guy. And I killed many, many people.
I didn't even do them the dignity of freezing them first. They stank when they were dead.
No one's ever asked me that. What happened to the birdies?
It wasn't freezing. It was worse.
The star at the center of Deltaruna became a furnace that day, my friends.
You remember that?
And that is my favorite sound.
You remember that furnace that another Kevin McAllister, was afraid of in his basement? That's sort of the whole vibe of the Deltaruna system that day.
So Picard's like, what do? I need to do something bold in front of this new crew who doesn't know me. I need to bow to this Q entity that's frozen one of my crew people and erected this fence. What am I going to do?
And is now like sniffing drugs through his nose.
I'm going to do what a teenager would do who thinks they've been caught by a cop for speeding. I'm just going to fucking gun it. And hope that there's another similar looking car to mine that's going to throw them off the scent.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't work great for my high school buddy Peter, who was driving a Saab with a bike rack on the roof. I was like, yeah, I think that they're gonna find us, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so this is the famous, like, we're gonna separate the ship, we're going to high warp, and then disconnecting the saucer section. Like, you're supposed to be dead stop to separate.
I don't get Picard for being the captain of a ship that he hasn't read the manual for. Because for him to be like, can we do the thing that this class of ship is known to be able to do at this speed? For him to not know that, I think is a bad look. Data's like, no one's ever done it, and no one should do it.
Data's like, what do you take me as? A weird-shaped book in a vinyl pouch in the glove compartment?
I love the idea of Data being used as the owner's manual for the Enterprise. I think that's actually good. But he should know this. Like, this is crucial information.
Picard should have this down to memory.
Yeah.
They do it, though.
Yeah.
And we get to see the battle bridge, which is exciting.
Finally.
Yeah, we're 4 minutes into the episode.
The pace of this is so weird. That's another aspect to rewatching this that was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Like, we have separated the ship almost immediately.
We meet O'Brien and the battle bridge in the same moment. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
They are reclined a lot on the battle bridge.
Yeah.
I think they brought up the pitch for Best of Both Worlds. Like, I feel like people are taking it a little more seriously in that episode.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like threatening, right? Like when you see somebody driving their car around leaned back that far, you're like, this guy probably has like a pistol in the door pocket, right? O'Brien is probably packing, is what I'm saying. Anyways. Q is fast as hell. They're like, Picard's plan to like surprise and outrun Q does not work.
I like this effect. The little sphere with the little flame in it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's very TOS, though.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I also don't get how speed works in this episode, because the idea that they're being overtaken by something so much faster, it sort of falls apart when they finally like whip around in the star drive section and wait, and they wait a long time for Q to show up again, right?
Yeah,
I think Picard's idea is actually good, given how much of a jump they had on him.
I think the pace of play of space combat was like surprisingly hard for Star Trek to dial in, because like later episodes they'd have like a warbird and the Enterprise like trading torpedoes, and it'd be like, pew, put the shields up. You know. Like, really?
So we're in court, and I don't mean right now, which it definitely feels like, on the show. And my question for you is Q racist? Because he holds humanity on trial, and clearly Deanna Troi is there like, what the fuck am I doing here? I don't deserve this. Am I on trial too? And what if Worf were there? Worf gets to do so little in this episode. They send him off in the saucer section. I'm like, oh, he would be perfect for this.
Q should have frozen Deanna Troi. She should be the one that's half dead if she's half human.
Yeah. Just frosted on one side.
What the hell just happened? Did I lose the audience for that?
Yeah.
Woke mind virus has seized Star Trek podcast audience.
If it doesn't work, we can just retake it for video. That's one thing.
Yeah,
and also 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird.
So yeah, this is the post-atomic horror, apparently when humanity was at its worst, and Troy is like explaining like this is not us imagining this. This is real. We're here. This is happening, and like
She goes around and pinches everyone. See?
Q enters like a fucking pro wrestler.
If you thought the bounces were over in that first shot, his bouncy platform is like a diving board up there.
The extent to which this is obviously just a forklift
Yeah.
is fucking incredible. Like, they are not even really trying to make it look like he's on a floaty chair. They never try. And there's one shot where you can just see the forklift in the background, and then like the extra that's dressed as the like nose drug soldier like tries to stand in front of it a little bit, and it's like, come on, dude.
You can definitely tell with how they do the dialogue. It's very short and stilted, like, you're now on trial, so they can edit out the beep. This is not fair. Beep.
There's a guy from the grip and electric department with a light that he's like, I was about to hang this. What, like, where's my fucking lift?
Yeah, he's about to go hang something else.
He's about to go bend pipe. In his scant. Anyways, if you thought we were going to start with Lawyer Picard, you were wrong. We start with Lawyer Data.
Yeah.
He knows all the, like, precedents to cite and whatnot.
And he can do the voices, and that's fun.
Yeah. Well, that's when he gets turned into, like, court reporter Data later.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there's some law that, like, this law sounds fucking sus as hell to me. It's like you can't be held accountable for the crimes of your race in a way that sounds like, so were they, like, trying to not do reparations at some point in human history?
If your ancestry results came back all of humanity, I think you'd be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you don't want that episode to go to air on PBS.
Yeah.
You mean this is all of my history? Everything?
I thought...
It's bad. And how do you prove a negative?
No.
This is an impossible situation.
Tasha Yar is the one that's most pissed about this. This is probably, like, the biggest acting moment she got in the entire series.
This isn't a good moment for her either. She's really trying hard.
Yeah.
You already got the job, Tasha Yar. So what would you do if you were the security chief of the Enterprise D? I'd ride for the Federation at all times. It's the best organization ever. They saved me.
It's better than the planet I'm from by a lot.
Never talk to my sister. You'll hate her.
She's more like this.
And she's not good looking. No way.
Oh, now you lost him. Okay. This is going to be an interesting rest of the show.
I meant that she is good looking, obviously. Oh, now I'm in jail.
So Picard pleads provisionally guilty.
On. Yeah.
And like the idea is like this is when court reporter Data comes in handy. He reads back the transcript and they get special dispensation to keep doing the DC Fontana part of the script and see where that goes.
This is a good idea.
Yeah, it's right. It's a great idea. Q loves these ideas, by the way.
I'm like 9 years old watching this on TV, and I'm like, something really amazing is going to happen at Farpoint Station, right? If this is the test, oh my God, it's going to be the coolest place, and definitely not like an outdoor mall that I would be dragged to by my parents. Like, it's going to be better, a lot better.
The lights turn up. We're back on the battle bridge. Colomini does one of the greatest takes in this entire episode, just like booping and beeping on his panel. oblivious to the fact that everyone else has been called before an all-powerful god alien to answer for the crimes of their race.
This is the pitfall of having a great actor like Colomini, is that, like, you could, on the one hand, think that Colomini knew that they were spirited away to be on trial for all of humanity forever, and he's just playing it cool. Or he didn't know anything about it at all. And I can't decide which one I believe.
I think they are both really fun reads of
I
this
know.
scene. Smash cut to the exciting Farpoint station.
God, yeah. And we meet Riker for the first time.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Did you think that his commander's log felt a little too hot in the record?
All the logs are bad in this episode.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
They the logs in this episode sound as bad as our first episode of our podcast.
Hot logs. Or what?
This is the bad bell.
I gave you the bad bell. I sabotaged it. So I would get the ding. I gotcha.
Did we even ding a title in our first episode?
I also half sawed one of the legs of your chair. Is mine sabotaged too? Mine didn't ding either. Oh, this is...
You
Mine's
got the bad
too.
bell.
I got the bad bell and made your bell bad. Oh, this is trash.
A ringing bell is a way of calling a hotel attendant to the front desk, but it is also a way that the Star Trek podcast Greatest Generation identifies a title of their episode. We should have explained that at the beginning of the episode, but we didn't. So now this is arbitrarily doing it for us.
Overconfidence is when you fail to explain a thing that you should have early on.
You sabotaged your bell? You're gonna kill somebody!
Okay, we both have functional bells now.
Yeah, but we
So
have a
that's
title.
just
We
the
can
fir-
put the bells away. We have a title.
No, that's just on the board. I think we might find a legendary title tonight. I'm hoping for that anyway.
Fuck.
All right, that's what I'm going for.
Hey, Jamie, edit out all that shit where the bell didn't work.
You want to retake that whole part?
So we see the ship for the first time, and Picard is doing...
This is amazing. No, Ben, keep going. I feel like you're headed somewhere that's going to be
Hold on,
real funny.
I gotta go back in my notes.
Oh yeah, take all the time you need. We can just edit this out. We only have a very hard stage curfew.
Yeah. Much funnier people than us need this stage very badly.
Our friend and agent was like, "You guys, I got you a Saturday at the Bell House. You'll never believe it on short notice." And we were like, "We don't believe it." And then we booked it and we're like, 3 o'clock? And you guys came. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate how much it's going to cost for you to pay your babysitters to stay out until the after party ends at like 4 a.m.
You really bailed out our friend and agent,
Yeah.
I'll say.
Hell yeah.
He's on thin ice.
He was fucking this close. We are taking our business to the United Talent Agency. This doesn't work out perfectly. Then we go to UTA and they're like, "Who the fuck are you idiots?"
They don't even know us at CAA.
Anyways.
You know, back when I was booking our live show tours, I would have begged for a 3 in the afternoon show.
They would have been like, "It's a 70-20 split.
Yeah.
You keep 20%. And we're like, "Does that math work? Okay."
Sounds good. Oh, that's not it.
Sounds great.
Yeah! I knew I loaded that one up for a reason.
The USS Hood has dropped Riker off, and he's doing some poking around. He wants to know, like, what's the deal with this Farpoint station? Because whenever we see the establishing shot, we see the old Bandy City, and we see Farpoint Station, and there are notable architectural differences between the two. The Bandy have like built this beautiful space station and not really moved into it. They're like, yeah, we like our like mud hut situation we have over here.
And that's suspicious, right?
Yeah. That might be the most suspicious thing that is never commented on in this episode. But Riker goes in and he meets Groppler Zorn, who's like the head of the Bandy, and he's like, hey man, could use an apple. And
was Groppler Zorn Gene Roddenberry's idea? Because he is, as a character, a bad idea. He's not good.
So you're saying you feel like you're on the gravel part, and then you're like...
I feel like I'm back on gravel
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, so some apples appear on his desk in like one of the least special effect-y sci-fi moments of all time. They like cut the camera and cut back, and there's now a bowl of apples. And they're like, holy fucking shit! Apples! Can you believe it?
This episode's all about character development, about like meeting the bridge crew. It would have been so endearing if Riker were like, oh, red delicious? These apples fucking suck, Groppler.
And then he's like, oh well. Not a satisfying apple. Why do they always come wrapped in cellophane? I've never seen a Red Delicious not wrapped in cellophane. Anyways.
It's too far in the subtext in this scene. Like, if you go back and rewatch this episode, like, unfortunately we had to do...
Multiple times.
You know
sucked.
This scene is a version of a hostage in a trunk trying to, like, flicker the brake lights and get the attention of someone who could save the hostage, right? Like, this is the blue alien underground going, like, save me, red apples, they're fucked up. Like, something bad is happening here.
Right, if they had been gala apples or, like, you know...
Right.
Not Red Delicious.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
We wouldn't have been worried.
No, but the blue...
I'm trying to save you because you lost the crowd again for some reason.
The blue squid somehow knew that the Red Delicious was gonna...
It's a cry for help apple.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a bell right there.
That's on the list. That's a soft ding. Real soft. You were making that face, and I was like, are you okay?
I'm like gesticulating at the Horgons.
Is the palsy taking hold live on stage?
It's the Bell House, not Bell's Palsy.
That's a great title. I knew we'd get it.
Riker meets up with the Crusher family who are shopping for magic scarves. We get to meet Beverly and, of course, Wesley.
Wesley, the boy. The boy. Young Wesley Crusher.
My son.
It is a really good thing that no one suspects at this point what's actually happening, because if Wesley knew that he was on a planet that could make your every desire happen, he would not want to be hanging out with his mother at all, right?
Yeah.
And also Riker, like, he doesn't know either. Clearly, the apple hint did not work.
That's such a good point. Riker should be, like, knee-deep in extremely enthusiastic lovers at this point.
Like, the tubes that the scarves come out of should, like, immediately fleshlight themselves. And then Riker gets in there. And Wesley.
I think Wesley is kind of an anhedonic character, though. Like, when he finally got to be the hunk that he always wanted to grow up to be, which is not what Will Wheaton wound up looking like.
Hey guys, I'm a hunk.
He was like,
who's ready to fuck?
I want to get there on my own. You know?
I'd rather wait to have sex 20 years at least.
I want to be a married traveler before I embark on that particular adventure
Could
in
you
space
imagine
and time.
how much shit you'd get as a married traveler? It'd be impossible. Except...
Doesn't count if you're outside of the time zone or whatever.
Wouldn't it be hard to not use traveler powers to get out of being in jail at home, though? Like, you finally come back from a traveler mission, she's like, you missed, like, 5 of Daron's birthdays. And you're like lobster hands? No, I didn't. Like, thick finger snap.
Oh, yeah. That's a bassy finger snap when you do it with the lobster hands. Is anybody here first-time greatest experiencer? I'm so sorry, sir.
Yeah. There's a lobster hand clap out there. Very...
Anyways.
It's nice to hear laughs again.
Yeah. So Riker is suspicious as hell of this whole Farpoint station situation. He really fucks with Geordi's shit the first time we see Geordi. Geordi comes and he's like, hey, like the entrepreneur is inbound, the saucer section is not attached. And Riker is like, is this an official report, cadet? Geordi's like, I'm not a cadet, what are you doing? What the hell?
It kind of makes the big dogging of him that happens later feel earned, because you don't like to see this.
Right.
Like, this is America's national treasure, LeVar Burton, even now. Like, in 1988, you don't want to see that happen to him. And it kind of gets you, like, not on Riker's side here. It's ugly.
It must just be a Starfleet thing to be like a total asshole to your subordinates until you're not.
I thought about this the
randomly.
entire episode, like, America's new grandpa, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, like, is an asshole this episode.
Yeah.
He's not great.
Because Riker beams up to the ship, and like Picard doesn't even turn to greet him. We've talked
Which
about.
we see later, he stands up and looks at the turbo lift basically every time the door opens, except for when Riker comes out. Don't you think that's weird?
They cut out the part of the scene where he said, "Mr. O'Brien, let me know when Riker will be arriving, so I can make him feel terrible about his new job." Like, think about it from Riker's perspective. He's been stationed on the Hood. He has had the good life.
A captain who's more of a friend, really.
Yeah. And like, suddenly this is the vibe?
Yeah.
And now I have to watch the first half of the episode again?
At this moment in time, the Hood is still close. I think in the back of your mind, you got to think about going back. It's not too late.
Yeah. Also, the like, whoever edited the like reel of what happened with Q up till now is insane. This is
kinda
not
misses some
useful
key
information.
points. Do you think the episode could have started here? Because I really do believe that.
Right, like Riker beams onto the bridge. It's uncomfortable as hell. Like
Yeah.
we're in. We're like on the edge of our seats. We
And
paid
then
for
we
the whole
watch
seat.
the
We didn't
clips.
use it.
Yeah, we see the clips on the little TV. He's made to watch it on the bridge in front of everyone. And the sound is up. Like, he is guy at the airport gate having a speakerphone call that everyone can hear.
Even Yar is big dogging him. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you what happened. You're just going to have to watch the TV.
We get an interaction in the Battle Bridge Ready Room, which is a set we never see again after this episode.
Yeah. I think we've never done a bumper sticker.
Uh-huh.
I think the Battle Bridge has a ready room, never forget. Might be something we want to consider.
Can there be like a thin line through that? What would the line even be?
We'll think about it.
Just widely spaced pips? Did you notice how wide the pips were this episode?
Yeah, they didn't have the pips dialed in.
If you've got wide pips, that makes your neck look narrow, right? That's probably good, especially if you're an old man like Patrick Stewart.
What if you did like episode 1 wide pips and Calvin Hudson low badge?
God, that is a hell of a combination right there. like that a lot.
Do we have that button?
We don't.
Fuck! God damn it! We planned nothing! We planned no things for this show! And we didn't plan that! That's so fucking easy to anticipate! What the fuck, dude? I did all the video stuff, you did the soundboard, you're supposed to be on top of this! God!
Oh, that was a mistake. I'm not going to say a single word until every sheet of paper is picked up.
I'm really glad I borrowed a pen from the professionals that came to film this so that I could put numbers on the pieces of paper.
They've left, man. They locked off their tripods and they're gone.
I don't blame them. This is bad. We're doing a bad job.
So in the Battle Bridge ready room, I'm going to talk so you can organize your notes.
Yeah, where are we in the episode?
Picard is like, I am not nearly done smashing your balls. Like, the indignity that I put you through out on the bridge is going to continue once you leave here, because I want you to dock our ship manually. You're qualified, aren't you? And Riker looks at him like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't think he knows what this means.
Many times.
I think he's full of shit here. I think he's trying to get one past Picard, and he goes back out on the battle bridge like, does he really just want me to tell them verbally how to do this? It's just giving orders. I can do that.
That's easy.
Yeah. So he goes and he does it.
This is going to be O'Brien's fault if it doesn't go well.
It's very exciting, and as soon as the ship is docked, we get an around the horn. We get like ISOs of every bridge crew person, like flooded basement after flooded basement. Like, I can't believe he did it. He got it back together.
That's why those seats are leaned back so far.
Yeah.
They're troughs to catch all the...
Right.
You're picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah, so they didn't die. That's a big relief.
Don't you wish we had a shot of Worf in the saucer section? Because he's kind of waiting to get destroyed,
You would
right?
think you would want to coordinate this with the saucer.
No one's talking to Worf.
Yeah, just cut back up to the main bridge and Worf is like...
This is such a great moment in time for this show, because if you watch this episode and no other Star Trek The Next Generation episodes, I don't think you have any idea what Worf's job is. He has enough rank to be given the big chair in the saucer section, which in itself, not a great job. It's a shit job. Like, you don't need to be great to do that. And then he's just sort of around doing stuff.
He doesn't seem to have a specific job yet.
Why isn't he brought on away teams ever? Like, he's never on a Dustbuster Club this episode.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, all he gets to do is, like, put the shields up a couple times.
He's bad at his job from jump.
He doesn't have a job. It's not his fault. Like, sometimes he's all the way in the back of the bridge. Other times he's at the con. Like, what does he do?
Because when you see him, like, they wait to bulk up his backstory. Like, you see him and you're like, he must be exceptional, right?
Yeah.
He's not. He's not exceptional at all.
Picard interviews Riker in the observation lounge about how like one time DeSoto wanted to go on an away mission and Riker wouldn't let him. And this is a scene about Riker like standing on his principles, like, yeah, man, sometimes the captain's life is more important than the mission.
For Picard to use this as a test, like a check and a test about whether or not Riker would stop him from being an ass in front of children, I think really cements in what sort of danger Picard feels like he's in as captain of this ship. Because Those are not equal. The idea of Riker going like, no way, Captain, you're not going to risk your life for this mission, and for Picard to go, I could die around children.
Do you think that he just has like clocked Riker and he's like, he's so much cooler than me. I need to somehow harness this power instead of coming into conflict with it.
He does seem like the great childless friend invited to the birthday party that's just cool with kids. Like, the kids fucking love him.
Yeah.
Like, he's holding the thing that people smash full of candy.
Pinata?
Yeah. As soon as I started that description, I was like, you don't have the word. It's like I'm ski jumping on one ski. Like, I shouldn't say this. Pinata, yeah. He's the pinata holder.
The thing that my wife is skipping this to be at is a 4-year-old's birthday party, and that's the only reason I knew this word.
With pinata.
Con pinata.
God, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That's what's missing.
We should have had a pin.
God damn it!
We have a hard out at 5, man. I'm not hitting the drop. Get back in your seat.
We're all right. I can see the clock from here. We're doing good. Where are we in the episode?
Is this going about how you'd expect? It's fine.
This is like, if there wasn't a room full of people here, this is like almost exactly like what an episode record is like now.
Yeah. Windy edits out 8. Where are we at? Every episode at least. So all we basically know at this point are Picard, Riker, maybe a little bit of Groppler's Horn. We need to know the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
So what we get here are like a bunch of interstitials. Geordi's in sickbay with Beverly, and he goes in there for a headache or something, and Beverly prescribes surgery, which Geordi does not agree to. And that's his scene. That's his big moment.
Yeah, we get to see the creepy, like, perfectly even eyeball thing that he's got going on.
Yeah, I did like that. I liked seeing those
The
eggs.
fucked up thing is, like, he's, like, they're saying, like, he has headaches. He's had headaches ever since he got the visor. And, like, we know from history that LeVar Burton suffered headaches the entire time he was on this show because this thing was screwed into the side of his head.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our show. Thank you, Brooklyn!
Stop standing up. You keep standing up and you keep moving your seat back.
You're stressed about the production guys.
I really am.
They left.
Now I've got to move back.
No, we're good. I'll move forward.
You know what? Speaking of people wearing things uncomfortable, we've got DeForest Kelly here.
Yes, we do.
And this scene becomes very funny.
Why does my mic ride so much higher in the holder than yours?
Because mine's thicker.
It's a girth issue?
Yeah, it is.
So it's the same length, but it's more satisfying.
I don't think anyone would agree that either of us are satisfying at this point.
Yeah.
So we meet Dr. McCoy, and I think this scene, for a long time for me, was sad because I didn't like seeing him in this shape. He looks bad. He's covered in loaf. The worst loaf. Oh, what do you got? Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Bowser. What's up, Bowser?
And there he is. You know what I love about this action figure is they've really nailed the slouch. And also the boot-cut pantaloons. Oh, now it's worth nothing. You're really the master of dropping things on the floor. That's nice. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Would it surprise you to learn that Dr. McCoy has been aboard the ship the entire time? Like, through the entire Q incident. Like, Worf elucidates this later. He's like, yeah, Data's taken McCoy back to the hood that just pulled up, but he's been here the whole time. Like, what does Dr. McCoy think of what's happening right now?
We encountered a possibly all-powerful race of aliens on our way out here, and we didn't think to ask, like, one of the most decorated officers in Starfleet history.
Not only that, Dr. McCoy has been on trial before in Star Trek VI. Like, wouldn't he have been great in that trial scene?
Oh, he would have been so good. He would have been the one saying, "Don't wait for the translation, answer me right now."
That's what I'm saying. They underuse him, and it made me sad. He barely makes it back to the shuttle, too. Like they cut to the behind shot on the shuffle, and you and I have this a lot. Like, our wives are slow walkers, and you gotta just slow your walk so that you can stay together. And Data's the slow walker to keep it with Dr. McCoy, who could die at any moment.
Like, I hope he's walking him to 6 Bay and not Shuttle Bay.
Do you think that Dr. McCoy, by not saying anything about Q or the fence he saw out the window or whatever, like, that's a bad sign? Like, all he's talking about is...
I love that
is treating
mental
the
image.
ship like a lady and, like... You've been paying attention, right?
He's like playing solitaire in his stateroom and just like looks out the window and sees the cyclone fence and is like, well, I hope they're treating her like a lady. That's the only way to get
That's not
home.
how I treat a ship.
Ultimately, that's the way you get home. Treat her like a lady.
Treat her like a lady, boy. Which he uses a little casually in that conversation.
Do not love that.
Yeah.
We got to see the hood. That was really nice. There's a scene where they're like hanging out on the bridge and Q shows up on the view screen to be like, I'm also here and this is also part of the episode. Worf almost shoots the view screen.
It's a bad look for Worf.
Not a great Worf episode.
Who, in addition to his duties of commanding the saucer section, hanging out behind Tasha Yar, also gets to be at the seated bridge station for the shoot the view screen scene.
Right.
He gets to do everything.
He's busy.
That's
But
called cross-training in a corporate sense.
there's a line where Picard tells Q, like, if we're going to be damned, let's be damned for what we really are. And I feel like the re-encounter at Farpoint is feeling a lot like that for me.
He's talking about us.
Yeah. So, the big mystery of Farpoint Station is like, how did they build this great station? Their other houses are bad, and this one is good. That's the mystery. That's the mystery at the core of this episode.
It's like building a Space Needle right next to a pioneer town.
Who would do this?
It doesn't make sense. And the Groppler Zorn
Not
is like...
local jokes get you not local work, Adam.
We're not doing the show anywhere but here. I promise. This is the last time we ever do this.
Yeah, we're gonna burn the tapes after tonight. We get that moment where Riker and Troy get to make eyes with each other for the first time.
How unprepared is Riker for this entire thing? This is a scene that made me think that, like, he doesn't know how to use the computers.
Yeah,
he did not know Deanna Troi was on the ship.
The Hood must be a really shitty ship if it doesn't have the, like, where is somebody on board
I think exactly
function.
the opposite. The Hood is so awesome. He was in that video arcade right until the very end. He's like, I hate to leave in the middle of a game, but...
Somebody take over as Wolverine.
Yeah.
All right, later.
That's really what it feels like. And he's just depending on his own guile to make it through.
Picard is, speaking of guile, totally guileless in this moment. He's like, I like my officers to know their abilities. And they're like, yeah, we know each other's abilities, buddy.
This is really canonically Picard, for him to see two people clearly having had a relationship together and not recognizing it at all.
Didn't even notice it.
Any of the signs, yeah. It's a bad look.
Yeah. So we're back in Zorn's office now, which is in the shitty part of town. Like, they built this space station. They did not put the administrator's office in it.
Troy detects pain and loneliness, but not from Riker. Like, as soon as she says that, I feel like the camera should go on him, and he's like, ugh. I am alone, I am not loneliness.
So what if I'm bending a little pipe from time to time?
Yeah, he's fine.
That's part of my lifestyle. It's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
It's a great Troy episode if what you're trying to do is like cement her awesome power forever, but this really isn't a part of her character after the first couple of seasons, right? Like, it's never a, what is that thing out there? Censors don't know what it is. Counselor Troy? Like, that is the patter of the bridge for a couple of seasons.
And then it goes away.
And then it's gone, yeah.
They're negotiating this deal where Farpoint Station will become an official Starfleet stopover, and Zorn is trying to play hardball. He's like, oh, well, I could do a deal with the Ferengi if this doesn't work out. Like, his vibes are bad, but the vibes in the, like, area around it are way worse, according to Troy. They're like, well, the station is so great, we want to, like, take Bandy and, like, go to other planets and build ones like this. And he's like, haha, no, we don't want to leave. We're good here. We don't like going off-world. Like, he's so fucking needlessly evasive. He should have just been like, yeah, sure. I mean, let's, like, deal with that after you guys set up shop.
But he isn't even interesting enough to be interesting in the way he hides it.
Yeah.
Like, if I were in this scene and he were being like that, I'd be like, yeah, all right, we're going to figure out another way to build star bases. Like, you seem really boring to be around. And if you don't want to do it, I don't want your labor anyway.
Yeah. Like, hey, I know the vibes really suck around here, so just don't bring Betazoids and this will be a good deal.
Right. Yeah.
A restricted starbase? Ugh. Fucked up. Anyway. In this episode, Ferengi eat people.
Yeah. 9-year-old me was so excited to meet them. 9-year-old me would soon be so disappointed to meet them.
Did they tell Armin Shimmerman about that when he was creating the character of Quark? Like, sometimes they ate people.
It's so, like, why did they pivot out of that? It would have been cool. Instead, they were like, whip your phaser over your head to shoot it. How is eating people not cooler than that? Eating people's always cooler than that.
So Riker goes and finds Data in the holodeck after learning how to ask Siri where someone is on the ship.
By a lady who really seems into his butt specifically. Like, she hates to see him go, but she loves to watch him leave. And she does. She really does.
There are a lot of U5 performers in this episode.
As in under 5 feet tall? Because she was also very short.
She was short. I'm saying she has less than 5 lines.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, you're not going to believe it. They gave this lady fewer than 5 lines in the script. I'm sorry to call you ma'am. I didn't mean to do that.
Jamie, cut that out.
That's just for the room. So he goes into the holodeck. We get to see the awesome capabilities of the holodeck and the terrible whistling capabilities of Data.
And the great body double capabilities of Data also. You get to see him sproing around to save Wesley from falling in the water.
This looks like Benedict Cumberbatch was like a stuntman in the 80s. Like, the HD remaster does no favors for some parts of this episode, and like how obviously not Brent Spiner this is one of those parts.
Do you think the reason that Picard is uncomfortable around children is that half of the children he encounters in this episode are soaking wet?
I don't know what to say. I don't have a spare towel.
He's more awkward than Wesley.
Wesley's fine. He wants to see that's all he wants to do is see the bridge. He's hanging out in 6 Bay with his mom, and he's like, I just want to see the bridge. And she's like, I read the manual of this ship before I came aboard, unlike its captain. And I know that's not allowed.
One thing in retrospect I really felt after watching this episode is like how great Beverly is as a mother to put up with a fucking annoying son like Wesley. I could not do it. Like, if Daron turns out being like Wesley, I'm gonna feel so bad for you, man. And there's basically like a 90% chance that Daron does turn out like Wesley. Actually, no, I'm gonna take that back. Like, when parents try to turn their children into a thing, they like resist.
Yeah.
Your kid's gonna be like
He's gonna be fine.
captain of the football team.
Let me tell you, as a 9-month-old not in the time zone he's used to being in, he very much is a traveler of all of space and time right now.
Hey, nerds! I did poopy in my die-die.
Hey, nerds! I had my first black beans from Calexico, and guess what happened? That's a local restaurant.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's still got to go, Jamie.
Yeah, we
It's
gotta
not
take,
gonna play up
take
the
all
stream.
this out. So we get to see the tunnels under Farpoint Station, which is I think a pretty simple visual effect, but it looks great. Like,
Yeah.
I think they just printed like the deeper tunnels on a cyc and then like built a very small set, and it looks awesome. This is like, I guess it's like sort of quasi-sewery. Like, they don't
Yeah.
run into Ninja Turtles or anything, but like...
Indeed, the building materials are fairly interesting. Now, this substructure is clearly built out of pain, according to Deanna Troy. Pain is a form of building material that you're not going to find at your local home center. You're going to need a contractor to source you some pain.
is only available to professionals, and therefore, our contractor on this job has sourced it from a local wholesaler.
We're gonna want to hang some floating shelves in this wall, and for that, we're gonna need a special bit. Avoid your tile bit, your wood bit, and go directly to the pane bit.
A masonry bit will do in a pinch. Oh, nice. I didn't even have
Yeah.
to stop it. That's great.
We're really getting close to the exciting conclusion here because things underground seem a little off in a way that nothing above ground was. Everything was cool up there.
Yeah, it's just like really great scarves with nice gold lame inlays.
Sure. We got a Wesley on the bridge scene.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong. He wasn't wet.
Oh,
Can you imagine if wet Wesley, did not change, did not dry off from the scene before, went directly to the bridge? He's like, oh shit, mom's about to clock in, and I really wanted to go there.
hell yeah. No time to put on a new Kuji sweater. We're keeping this one.
Hey, Captain, I'm wet.
He gets his own whole POV.
Wasn't that weird?
Yeah.
We cut to POV, and Picard's like, you can sit down if you want.
Seeing as how you're not wet.
Picard's like, if you need to sit, you can sit here.
He sits down and the
Every
captain...
captain does a shuttle. Every captain is a shuttle.
No serious writer travels without one.
He gets the perimeter alert the second he checks out the saddle, and they get in trouble at this. Retroactively, they're in trouble for having come on the bridge.
Right.
And the perimeter alert is for a
like 1950s flying saucer that is showing up.
I love the wonder of this moment because they clock this thing on screen and a bunch of people are like, we have never seen anything like that before, and the computer also has never seen anything like it before, and it is Simon. Like, it is, everyone has seen this before. How is it possible that it's such a mystery?
Like, there isn't a single head shop in a 25-mile radius of this room that doesn't have one of these spray painted on their wall right now.
Right.
And it's 2023, hundreds of years in the past of this episode.
This thing starts dropping bangers on the planet, but not in the good part of town. In the old town part of town.
Yeah, the shitty part of town.
Right.
And
this is bad because a lot of people still live there.
Yeah. So
in the sticks.
Yar and Troy and Geordi beam back up to the ship, but Riker and Data keep running around, and they like shoot their way into the old city. Like, I love this shot where like Data is like, pew! Like the Bandy are trying to keep people out. They're getting fucking hellfire rained down on them.
This is the most action-packed part of the episode. There's a Dustbuster Club down there. Q shows up, and he's like, what are you going to do? I know you want to shoot this thing. Why don't you? Yeah. Bunch of lawyer Picard happening here. Q fucks off. This ship is still shooting at the surface, and Picard's like, you know, I regret the things that I said to Beverly. And he goes to sickbay while this ship is shooting at the surface. Why did they do this scene here?
I know that our entire race, and by extension many other races that have aligned themselves with us, are being judged by an all-powerful god alien right now, but I'm worried that I was a little bit short with you and incourteous when you came aboard the ship.
If I'm eventually blasted by fire extinguishers, I'm going to regret not making this right.
I have an awkward, sneaking suspicion that I'm going to dump in you sometime in the future and take zero responsibility for that action. And you're going to feel so alienated from me that you don't tell me about it for several decades. And so I'm kind of trying to head that all off at the pass.
I thought I'd use the waterfall as a way to kind of bulk it up.
Anyways, I'm a bad man.
We've watched Star Trek Picard, right? We all get that? Okay. All right.
How are the newcomers in the audience feeling right now? I'm sorry again. They've left.
Yeah. So the Groppler, a character we really care a lot about because he's very interesting, gets taken from the surface.
Yeah, he gets like beamed up, purple,
and tortured over there.
Yeah.
I know. A person we care deeply about.
Yeah.
He's suspended in that magician sawing a person in half kind of way, the Groppler, which is great because the Groppler wears the cloaks that covers up the little forklift fork that holds him up.
It's and probably the same forklift that they had Q on earlier, right?
I really wish I could muster any kind of feeling at all about the Groppler being tortured, and I just don't care at all about him. He sucks.
He seems like a bad guy.
He sucks and he did bad things, so I'm like, why don't they keep him? Keep him and torture him.
He gets as good as he gave, but Riker and Data phaser the purple that is hurting him, and this really upsets the saucer, which turns into a jellyfish in reaction.
Where did they keep those tentacles? Because it flips on over, and they just spill out.
Yeah.
The saucer dumps them out, and then the saucer on the surface, the D kind of shoots a little milk beam at it, and it's like, hey, suck on this.
And they don't sour the milk this time.
No, exactly. Yeah. And check it. Like, one of the most surprising things happens here in the episode. The saucer that's been kept and tortured and used is the blue saucer.
Yeah.
It's not the pink saucer.
The pink saucer was the rescuer.
How surprised were you about this?
Definitely DC
The pink
Fontana
saucer
wrote
was
this
kicking
part.
some ass.
Yeah, not Roddenberry's work here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they touch tentacles. It's real nice. And like they even warn all the like bandy that are aboard Farpoint Station to like evacuate before it turns into a blue jellyfish, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Q like doesn't actually have any mercy for anybody, but like when he sees mercy in other people, he admires it. What's that about? Fucking do like practice what you preach, Q.
We don't get to know Q at all until Q Who, right? Like, I don't feel like this episode does anything for him.
Yeah. So
with great gratitude and joy, everyone watches the squids touch tentacles.
yeah, and they didn't cut it out of the special edition like they did with Avatar. It's fucking bullshit, man.
Gratitude and joy, probably not emotions that Riker had when Riker and Troy were together, right? Like,
Right.
probably a lot of confidence and rolling over is what happened.
Yeah. I would say that
I sense great needing to go to work early in the morning.
I sense great consumption of pineapple.
And with that, like, this is how the episode ends. Picard's like,
I just
mission
got
accomplished.
corrected on the pineapple thing, by the way. I'm being told by the front row that this is good because people on the internet might watch this. You got to eat a lot of pineapple over a long period of time.
And you're not?
And then the ropes will be great.
We have an all pineapple tour writer, and we always have.
It's just hummus, carrots, tequila, pineapple.
Yeah. And Bell House pre-cuts it for you, which is great. This is
awesome.
why we keep coming back again and again.
Every beginning of a Star Trek captain's life has to end with their captain catchphrase. And this episode is no different. They don't cut away before Picard gets to say,
Keep the children away from me.
"Did you like this episode, Adam?"
I did not. And I think it's interesting that we're returning back to the first episode after the finale of Picard season 3, which was like the apex of like great endings to series. To go back to the beginning and realize that Picard in the beginning was a bad captain and maybe a bad man. Like, he does these weird power move things with his crew, and
It seems so petty.
he really does. And next to nothing about him is recognizable compared to the like Grandpa Picard that we know and love later on, with like a very troubling backstory that we never knew. But like, I really feel like you could.
You don't really get "I found my mom in a cellar" energy from this Picard.
Not at all. What you get is there's a bunch of wet kids in my cellar. Is what you get from him. But I really continue to think Star Trek: The Next Generation is a great show, and I really think you could skip this episode and believe that utterly. You don't need this. You don't need this. As a kid, like as a 9-year-old, this was absolutely the entry drug into the series. This is I was obsessed with this show starting now.
9-year-old Adam was like, "This is boring in a way that really appeals to me."
Yeah. That was it. This was my babysitter for a long time. And it worked.
Yeah, I was surprised when I watched this the first time for this re-encounter, because I was like, I wrote like a lot more notes than I anticipated writing it, because I remembered that our first episode was really short, and I remembered not having a lot to say about it. And I remembered like it didn't make a huge impression on me. And I think since we have watched so many Star Trek episodes and recorded so many hours about it, and since I watched like Chaos on the Bridge, the documentary about the making of this pilot, I saw it in whole new light when I watched it again. And then I watched it again this morning, and I was so fucking bored, you guys.
And in that way, you've become our audience tonight.
Yeah. So thank you for coming out and watching this. But I think that the thing that sort of inspired this whole afternoon's affairs is the fact that we didn't even know about Jim Shimoda until episode 2.
Yeah, we didn't do so many things that first episode.
We didn't record it well. Think of any jokes ahead of time.
We didn't think anyone would listen, but you did, and you're here. And that continues to be a miracle in my mind.
We're very grateful for that. So I guess I just have one question, Adam. Did you find yourself a drunk Shimoda?
Drunk Shimoda!
How many of you have bet on this? Like, who do you think it's gonna be? I hear a Data, I hear a Grappler's Horn. Wesley. Okay.
I hear Riker, I hear Q.
All right.
We're filming this. You can't just talk.
You can't just ask the audience what they think.
It's a hard decision.
My drunk Shimoda is Worf, who was the betting favorite for sure. Worf is such a dork, even now. Even now he's bad, and the way he sucks up to Picard, oh, it's so unbecoming. I don't like it. He's like, ordinarily I'd be very brave, but like, I'll go drive the saucer, of course. Like, anything for you, Captain. Like, I love tough Worf. This is a bad Worf. I don't like this version of him. And he makes a lot of really weird decisions the entire episode that seem to be like against his instincts.
Yeah.
Also, he tried to shoot a view screen.
Shooting the view screen sealed the deal for me.
And that was so dumb.
Yeah.
He knows how view screens work, right?
The fact that Riker tries to cover for him in that scene is like, no, it's like a good thought. Like, for sure shoot Q when he's on TV.
Yeah, good for Riker to cover for him, but
No
still a bad
wonder
look.
Worf has been loyal as fuck to Riker ever since. Like, one of the most embarrassing things I ever did at work, and that dude had my back.
Yeah. Yeah. We tried so hard to get Worf to accept the award here tonight. We did everything we could. But as you may know, we've been disappointed on this trip.
Yeah.
We intended to meet Biff Yeager yesterday. That didn't happen. We intended to do a good show tonight.
String of failures. But we do have good news.
Accepting the award for Drunk Shimoda in Worf's honor is his brother Kern.
I do not remember why I agreed to this.
You mean you can shoot at anything and be rewarded for it?
I have a brother?
My voice is already blown out.
Perhaps I did too many John Taffer bits backstage before your human comedy show.
I accept this award and do not remember where I placed the trophy.
That said, it is a tremendous honor that I'm sure the House of Moog will long appreciate. And therefore, I thank everyone that came out to the Bell House in Brooklyn. And that's our show.
I love ending the show in tears. That's how much it means to me. Thank you for coming out.
This has been so much fun, Brooklyn. We love you so much. We love you, the internet. We love you also.
I love you.
I love you,
Great
brother.
show, man. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
What do you remember about the first episode of The Greatest Generation?
The very first episode that they made, the one that tonight was a revisit of?
Yeah.
I listened to it for the first time on the drive here.
I'm not driving.
And I remember thinking, this would not have hooked me.
Boy, it's batshit crazy. A couple of guys doing some pretty rough dick and fart jokes. I'll see you in 4 hours.
Like the first podcast episode?
Lots of dick and fart jokes.
It's only like 34 minutes. That's what I remember. I don't know.
I couldn't believe how stupid it was.
They've come a long way in figuring their shit out.
Stick through, because it gets better. It was fantastic to relive. I almost walked out into traffic.
Topic to topic, so that no one had the chance to interrupt. It was really quite hypnotic, incredibly
That was great. Oh, we killed.
I did not feel like we did a good job.
Woo!
Oh! The next time, the rider is not going to have 2 bottles of tequila on it.
Great show, Ben.
Yeah, it was a pretty good show by you, I guess.
I think that's it. I think we got it.
Got it in one?
Yeah.